you know, we did see the Infinity able to get themselves a large game, the last one getting a second place, and we were talking about how, they needed that big game coming into day 2, considering how far they were down on the overall leaderboard. So taking a quick look at where they're currently set, they're able to send themselves up into 12th place. Not quite safe as of yet, but only 2 points behind 10th and 1 point behind 11th, so the stability. Mad Bulls scarily now on the edge.
Plane path for Miramar of our first dose. A little bit further south from that east coast, up to the middle on the west. Cutting out, again, places on the north. We've seen that a couple of times so far. Torre Hamada quite far out of the way here. Wonder if teams will be making their way up there if the circle doesn't shift that way.
Moving straight into the map now. Team Kesa dropping down nice and early down to a spot about ISO. We're having Kengzo up towards that top side of the map as well. Power grid open. It's not hugely down towards the south, so there's still a lot of this area on the northern side that can be picked up. Mad Bulls going towards one of their backup drops down towards Los Leones, sharing that one with I8. Worked out kind of well last time, but this time I8 are surrounding, so it's no longer a case of being able to quickly move north here for Mad Bulls. They might have to struggle their way out of this, if not for the circle heading all the way down towards that south side, which is going to change things up drastically.
Wow, okay, that is a really hard south shift. It keeps Los Higos Islands in. Could be quite an interesting dynamic, cutting out a lot of the major areas of this map. So teams that drop down towards the south are going to have to crunch themselves in on that south side as well.
4 rifles dropping in. Delta's got a UMP.
Go on.
Not the most long-range weapon, but you stick a 6x on it, you might be able to get something done. Bamboo gets a couple of holes sent in towards the parachute, but not much of anything else. Should be able to get out of the dodge nice and easily. I don't think you're hitting these shots, son. UMP, typically your close range weapon. It's very good at close range, but you might need yourself a DMR.
They're popping shots back and, oh, okay, hang on a minute. Maybe not. Happy just grabbing a buggy and getting away. Delta, I mean, if he had any other weapon there, give him an M4 and that's 3 dead players easily.
I mean, 100%. He was directly on target. And I mean, he had the 6x, so the M4 could have been absolutely influential, getting those couple of knocks, and 4 rivals could have seen themselves with a very bad start to their Miramar here. Unfortunately, slipping far down the rankings so far, 4 rivals with what was a fairly decent start to there yesterday. Again, only 2 more days remain for Group Red to sort itself out, find exactly who's going through to the grand finals and who will be going home. But I think for Influence Kemin, it's pretty much set in stone here. 112 points, second place at 83 is an unreal differential in terms of point scoring, but does make a lot of these lower positions on the leaderboard much more volatile. I mean, you can see that from 6th down towards 12th is really only looking at 18-point gap at the moment, which is quite intense, kind of insane actually as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens on that final day. Should we continue to see some of these top teams remove a lot of the points from the lobby? S2G put themselves in a much safer position in 6th place now, with 56 points after their previous chicken dinner. Overall, happy days for them.
4 rivals gathering up the vehicles on the north side. If you're going to invest time getting this far up north on that plane path, you are going to have to be very, very mobile for this south circle hard shift. So they'll be looting up for the meantime after they've escaped the purview of the 6x UMP. They'll be all right.
Titans, not seeing too much out of these guys so far. I mean, yesterday they were absolutely blasting out their mind. They were looking very good, super aware of all of their surroundings, but last game and last couple of games from yesterday, less than ideal for them, I'd say. So maybe need to pull up their socks just a little bit. Again, they are far ahead and away of a lot of other teams, but I do think this is a team with a lot of potential to keep performing, to keep scoring on those big matches. We just haven't quite seen as of yet. With this circle, though, I mean, I talked about key priority compounds, but with it down towards the western side of Los Leones, depending where the second and third zone go, which have like probably the most variability at this point in the game. You know, you could see a finish where you're down towards the south side of Chumacera, where you're picking up again some of those massive high ground mountain positions over even towards La Triera, or we head over towards Los Leones and we have ourselves a very funky little urban finish, which, you know, I don't think a lot of these players will be looking forward to. So right now, teams should be both investing in vehicles as well as smokes, because smokes for Los Leones are so important for crossing those roads late game.
They really are vital. Really can't go without them. Top of the hill, MTech Storm, Team Queso. A little bit further down, this is on the south coast. Ayala, the furthest forwards on that rotation, as the rest of Team Queso are caterpillaring back up to regroup. Close towards most of the team from MTech Storm there. With this hard shift as it is, they will be playing on their south side high ground.
Zurich nabs himself a party bus there, but could quite easily be taken out the back of it. Monkey's moving up as well. Everyone's got a party bus on the side of Mad Bulls, apparently. Trying to pick themselves up some heavy ordnance in terms of the vehicles themselves. So very nice and safe. But Reyes got this 1-2 punch going on from either side. Bit of a crossfire going on. Screams also setting himself up in a decent position. And no compound available. So Mad Bulls do the only thing they can do, which is to isolate one of these players. Effect going down, though, is bad news. And Ayala has the auto shot. Oh, goodness me.
Does get taken down in response. Skillses moves through. They can look for these reses with Team Queso setting up such a wide crossfire. It does mean that they do have the opportunity to pick both of these players back up. Effect, though, under fire from MTech Storm, who have looked over this way. They've turned their attention out after the shots start to pop off. Team Queso's position is known. So is Mad Bulls on the south coast. Mad Bulls, by the way, a team now in 11th place. Very uncomfortably close towards that elimination bracket from the team that was the beacon of consistency over in the European Championship. This is a slip.
Absolutely, John. I mean, it's a huge turn of events for Mad Bulls. I don't think they're used to being this far down in the rankings either. Looking at them, though, realistically, I think that's a great position to take on the map, and a quick split-second decision to immediately head towards Ayala. It's kind of unfortunate there is like basically 3 teams over in that area looking down towards them. Yep. But because they're able to regroup, that is one of those key compounds around this area of the map. Has a lot of good sight lines over towards so many rotational paths, and difficult to crash if you have 4 players within those 2 spots available. Bit more difficult to hold on to if you're just Ayala on your own, but again, overall, a pretty good hold from Team Queso that just goes slightly awry because the players are not there to support.
Yeah, a little bit too far apart, maybe. You're right, there just wasn't quite the backup to support Ayala's position, which is unfortunate. But they still stay alive with 3, so they've still got a fair shout into this one. Quite a few teams yet to make that south migration. Enigma Galaxy, Freak still on foot, up towards the north in El Pozo. Wow, okay, that is another south shift blank, all the way over towards LGD.
Yeah, I mean, this could even be heading down towards Los Higos. And realistically, with this one starting to now center up just a little bit, you're going to start to see a lot of these teams maybe thinking about heading down towards Los Higos, maybe holding out there for a long while to give yourself some extra support. Mad Bulls, don't think twice about this one and try and get ahead of the pack here, seeing Budoram also trying to rotate through. Obviously, Mad Bulls are able to pick themselves up a lot of vehicles early on, also loot the entirety of these compounds. Effect left slightly high and dry. I wonder if that buggy had one of the vehicle's wheels shot out, in which case it's kind of a null point for him.
Okay, so spot Budoram, but it is traded off. Papi Potro, again, isolated from the rest of the team. Will be difficult to get him back up. They'll have to invest quite a lot of time and effort into getting that position back. But the saving grace is that they get that knock back over towards Budoram, who again are going to have to head out west. Do they commit the time to going for this flush?
My Bulls moved only slightly forward, finding them a position inside this singular compound. Now versus DRS, who historically today had really good impact into this one. Zerich has a nade that he might be tossing up topward side, but there's too many players here, and it's very unlikely Mad Bulls will be able to bring Zerich back into the fold. Skills is trying to hold that position, but huge amount of impact this high ground is having for DRS at the moment. IA also looking down towards this spot. It's going to be difficult.
Delta's in such a pivotal position for the team as well. It looks a bit exposed, but the cover afforded by the bonnet of the pickup, really important. Thread the needle there, but they're not going to be able to get him back up. They just want to speed up the process of getting Zerich out of the game. Remove him as a information gathering point as well, which is really, really powerful, actually. When you're down, you can still feed that information back over. So finally getting that elimination will prevent them from scouting at any of those rotations. A nice knock on the long range from Skills is onto Rules.
A really tough game overall. It's getting even tougher as well, just purely because of these central circles, in which case you're seeing much less edge play now. So many more teams clumping up towards singular destinations. So you're seeing I8 also over here, DRS looking down towards Mad Bulls. And yes, they have the compound, but they also have one of the lowest grounds in the lobby on this eastern side. They were able to find at least one player and take out that sneaky player from DRS that was trying to wrap himself round. So Mad Bulls up to 3 and with a little bit more breathing room to work with.
Yeah, Gianti gets found in the foothills. Tripped up a little bit there. Unfortunate, DRS down to 3. It centers again with a lot of water in this circle blank, and it's Miramar, so I don't usually get to say that for this map, but it seems like that's the way it's going to go. Keeping the Los Higos Island in still, but the majority is on the mainland. There'll be interesting decisions being made by teams like Buriram, like Titans, who are currently still on a wild 2-2 split, by the way.
I mean, for Buriram, it has been just really difficult for them in the first place. Trying to move through Team Queso, getting knocked along the way, trying to send shots backwards towards them to keep them at bay. And now moving down towards Los Higos side, like you were saying, towards Titans. Who are, yeah, you're right. It is pretty crazy. They've got 2 players down here, then also 2 guys up towards Via Demar. Like, I am slightly confused. Flabbergasted.
I think the only explanation I can kind of think about is that if you play this area, you're so used to playing split for quite a while that you don't even really have that sort of instinct to regroup early on the south side. And maybe they just got caught with everybody else moving in.
Absolutely. Influence came in here, going up against Enigma Galaxy. Second place team versus first place, so quite an interesting fight. And already 1 player down for Influence came in and another knocked.
Kajovski playing around the wall. Back and forth for Influence Kemen. Freak holding strong for now, staying alive, but the blue zone envelops zone 3,
That's
so
a great
tricky.
molly.
Excellent Molotov, as you say, but Freak caught unawares. Kajovski knocked on the back, and Influence Kemen now. I think that's just down to law. It will be. At the top, they will dispatch of Enigma Galaxy. The second place contender as well. Can they get these reses? They should be able to in this zone. But 3 of them alive, playing from that western side on the South Islands as well.
Yeah, as it pushes more and more in as well, Titans have a really good sightline down towards this rotational path from Via Demar down towards Minas del Sur. So overall, Influence came in a very, very bad spot now with only 1 player still alive. Freak could have definitely clutched that one out. I think it was just a case of pulling out the Molotov, putting it in the best position he could do, and then forgetting to pull the gun out, which is what realistically you need to do in those last moments. You see him like running out the side with just fisticuffs, in which case it quickly dispatched there. A lot of teams trying to get towards the highest position within the map. You see MTech, the Infinity, 4 rivals trying to get this position for themselves. IA underneath. Mad Bulls a little bit out of position, out of zone, but they will be able to hold out at least Team Queso as well as DRS, who troubled them for so long.
On the north side, R8 claiming some high ground. Titan are working on a regroup here. With Law pretty close by, you can see them starting to swim. The longer Titan can hold out their area, the better. They will have to cross to the north side, so actually maybe this big 2-2 split might actually pay out if they can sneak their way on with the 2 they've had on that south.
It would be ideal for them. Unfortunately, like you said, with so much water, they will have to cross back over on this side. And at this point in time, the circle is just dominated by this massive uphill slope towards the Infinity, who realistically have one of the strongest positions within the lobby. It will take a team basically crashing up onto that position to take them down, but at this point in time, we've got 15 teams alive. I don't think anyone's going to take their chances with that, considering they could be caught off making the approach, seen by separate sightlines in the lobby. I think S2G probably has the best chance at making it happen, considering this side of the circle on the west, where they currently are at, is much more free in terms of potential third parties. Most of the teams are on the eastern side of the circle.
They'll have to contend with the holdout, but you're right, there's a little bit less around them to add to the melee. Buradam, they went south early. They went over to the South Islands after losing Sky only a little bit earlier. But now they're stuck in the same position as Titan. And they'll start the swim. Kangzo staying land-based to allow Tiger and My Name to go early. And we'll be watching for those positions from Titan to try and move them, or stop them from moving, rather. But they've got that outpost, and they're playing two separate games right now still. Law eliminated. Does that self-knock? That is not good. Influence Kemen down and out early. It's uncharacteristic, but there you go. Still very clear ahead of everybody else on the tables.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, that was kind of the dream matchup for us as audience members, watching Enigma Galaxy go toe-to-toe with Influence Kemen on that side of the map. But both teams found themselves stuck between a rock and a hard place on that side of the map, with them struggling to get into the circle, it enveloping, being only one rotational path downwards, in which case they both got tangled up with one another. Silas, though, with a double spray. Beautiful stuff there.
And that is the outpost from Titan, who are taking another fight over towards Bigatron. Those two players over on that side, they're gone. There's no way that they get the back up. Team falls as well, actually. And Titan might just be being pulled apart here. Put on the barbecue. Turn them into brisket. They're getting cooked right now. It's not great. And that 2-2 split really coming back to bite.
Yeah, I think when you're playing this southern edge down towards Los Higos, I don't think it was very likely he was going to end up there in the first place. And I think you're 100% right what you said earlier on, John, which is a case of them splitting early and then tons of teams all just filling in the spaces, in which case they were just two worlds apart at that point in time. Essentially the 17th team.
Four rivals trapped in a crater. The nades will funnel their way down. R8 taking shots their way as the roll starts to go, and it won't be gathering any moss. This hill, as you said, the main feature of this circle. Really, really important to maintain these high ground positions. Oh no. That's how he died. That is just a big miscalculation coming through from Law to leave Influence Kemen out of the game.
He did die on top of the water, though.
Yeah, but it's like 3 inches of water. Like,
I feel kind of sorry for him. Well, I mean, his body was laid on top of the water, and it's pretty hot on Miramar, so I don't think there's any ice here. So I could feel for him in a way, you know. I feel sorry for the dude. Circle again, a little bit further towards that center side. The Infinity still with a happy day ahead of them. And for Mad Bulls, Team Queso all have to move. Four rivals also suffering to the hands of R8.
R8 have got a solid position here. If they can sweep out four rivals, it will be really good news, but can Prestige hold it? First goes down. MTech Storm looking out this way as well, pinching away the elimination over onto Voki as R8 start to descend onto the smoke bunch. Pimbaru knocked. Pui knocked as well. Just happy on the side now for four rivals. MTech Storm with oversight, slowing R8's approach, but it is coming, and it is coming in quickly. Four rivals eliminated. R8 have managed to isolate a bit of an area. Now they can start to move south, unless MTech Storm can stop that. But they're on the side swipe, and they won't be able to see them on this approach.
My Bulls initiate the push in towards the circle. I8 might spot this one. Slowly circling around. They drop skills as off to scout out, to provide that anchor, and Monkey heads back for effect. But Team Queso extremely close towards them, while skills remains out towards the circle itself. Provide a little bit of zone for him. I think it's just one vehicle the Mad Bulls are working with at the moment. See if they can make their way all the way in. It looks like they just about have done.
Titan with their 2. They're still going. Still going on that South Island split. DRS predicted to win. Blank, I have bad news. They're already dead. They cannot win this game. Stop that.
I don't think that is a prediction. I think that's just who the audience likes. I know it is a prediction, but you know DRS is predicted every single game.
I get it.
Yeah.
Take this seriously.
They are dead,
me.
though, guys. Yeah, they are dead. So unfortunate. Titans actually holding on. In the meantime, Mad Bulls got ripped to pieces by Team Queso, all the way on that eastern side of the circle. Bit of a difficult push for them, but still very unlike Mad Bulls to be playing in this way. Box in a fairly okay spot. It is isolated from a lot of the Western teams. Team Queso now out as well.
Buradam next to fall on the river crossing. 10th place eliminated, so we're now up down to 9 teams. MTech Storm and R8 have been sending bullets back and forth between each other on that northern side for quite a while. Titan with their duo have made landfall now, starting to spike out towards S2G. Circle, again, very, very central, keeps the Infinity compound in.
So they can still play from this position. Again, you're looking at almost this semicircle coming through from the top side, which is just clear unplayable for a lot of these teams. Making your way up this hillside towards the Infinity is going to be so difficult without them spotting them. And with 4 players from the Infinity still alive, they're on track for another really good game here and could be basically pulling themselves out of the swamp at the bottom of the leaderboard very, very quickly here in day 2.
Box with all 4 from the eastern side. Ooh, backed off. I spoke too soon. Scry laid low there. Break takes a flak of damage as well. The Scry is flushed out, down to 3 now as MTech Storm turning attention. Aegon I8 sending shots over towards the Infinity's position, who are still holding up in their compound. They have some positions on the open ground as well, so they are not completely committing to the inside, which I think is a wise decision at this stage.
Mela looking downwards towards a lot of these players. You can see the staging that I was talking about before, where you're just looking upwards. Newsy cracks one off over towards Bensu. Pulls out the M4 and will finish the business on that side. R8 tries to move up, and Godtunny doesn't quite find the shots in time. Prestige is playing a dangerous game as Godtunny tries to get the job done.
I mean, you can't step up to that ridge because that's going to happen. I mean, you get backed off. If you try and peek down that low and that close, you will get sent away. It's a really good opening knock onto the Infinity's position. And look at that. Prestige is going to use that opening, the knowledge that they're going to be investing in this res to move on up. Now R8 have a little bit of a shot. Backup as well comes through. 3 players from R8 off the back of the knock onto Godtunny, forcing Mela to reposition. They do not have the best spot. Mela goes down. Godtunny did get the heal off, but the steps will give it away, and he'll fall as well. Trade off onto Bandar. Infinity's position is coming apart. D7 so low, but will be able to pop the heal. Newsy close. Prestige has spotted it. Nade is good, however, and over the top, he won't have a chance to answer. 2 players now alive for R8 as Infinity have 2 of their own. Newsy laid bare. Logan on the inside now, last standing for the squad on one of the strongest positions in the circle, and R8 looking to take it from them. D7 close by, in through the window. Early tags on, gets a lot of damage, and does the job as well. R8 wrest control of the compound, but in come S2G. From the northern side, they swung up, and Silas goes down as MTech Storm try to suppress it. Hamzy up to the position that R8 are trying to hold. Bandar desperately looking for this res. SK-Ton trying to get him up. D7 there on the high ground. Backing up to the building. Blank. It's all popping off.
Yeah, I mean, this was always going to happen at some point. I think R8 had an absolutely marvellous push on that side. And Godtunny, the greed comes back to bite him. BTI Jen Foster does find one of the Titans player, takes him down. That'll be them out. But yeah, it's the greed from Godtunny to try and finish off that elimination. Doesn't find it, gets eliminated on your own. You're completely right, John. In that moment, R8 takes the entire opportunity to send all the way upwards. This is a great third-party attempt from S2G, but losing a backstop like that is horrible. And I think that was to MTech Storm, and I don't think they were assuming that there was another player, another team waiting in the wings here. Yeah, now we're having a full-on brawl in this position, and the circle actually heads down towards the south side. So LGD feeling very comfortable down towards the south at the moment, John.
4 players alive for S2G as well. Coming off the back of that chicken dinner, we wanted that momentum carried forwards. It seems like we might be seeing it. 7 teams alive, 4 eliminations for the squad. Bandar spotted. As MTech Storm, they've been hiding in these hills for so long, and on this northern side, they've been such a thorn for everybody on that side. Now finally, Bandar will feel the brunt of it. R8 down to 2.
Break dead center at the moment from Box on top of the loot crate. He's trying to live as long as possible here. And for Box, they're certainly not super safe. Any points that he can pick up for the rest of his team is perfect. Jem Foster has to drop a smoke and make a quick break for it across the field, but immediately gets spotted by YZZ. Really, really on the money here today is LGD.
Bigatron eliminated as well. 6 teams remain now. Chicken just popping shots, and R8. It was a really heads up and solid play. The speed of the decision making off the knock on God Tunny was really, really good, but they are now suffering from cowering on the inside. I mean, you are just going to allow teams like MTech Storm to swarm out, to swipe, and spread that line of fire. So it's going to make your life so much harder, especially rolling down this hill. However, they'll both have to do it at the same time, and that is going to be tricky. Aegon I8 repositioned lower.
For I8, they've been taking shots from LGD themselves. I mean, we talked about how LGD was certainly a team to watch here. I mean, Maxman throws the LGD prediction in for this game. Happy days. It's the right thing to do. Considering on Miramar, they tend to have some good success. Chicken, it's a little bit dangerous there, but finally finds the third shot, which will take down that player, and R8 removed. MTech Storm playing a really good game there on the top side, realizing that so many teams would be battling for this position, and they could quite happily just sit along on that hillside for as long as possible. But it really has been LGD who've been the major problem for a lot of these teams. Maybe not getting the most amount of eliminations, but certainly knocking teams where they needed to.
LGD making the forwards push. Spray from Silas doesn't tail it. Backstop is still there. Silas under pressure as well. The rest of the team from S2G, MTech Storm from the top have been the arbiters so far, as you said, staying on that outside, just chilling, making sure that they get those angles onto players who are looking out that way. Hamzy spotted. Shot's not over there yet. They're more focused on getting that res for MTech Storm. You don't want to overcommit here. Aegon I8 moved on into a little divot that they have below MTech Storm, so no sightlines there that way.
Saw a break, pretty much just rattlesnaking it his way down, trying to keep the tail at bay and not make too much noise as he slinks away into the distance. S2G, though, looking towards LGD at the moment, taking shots out towards them. They did have that backstop in MVM for quite a while. He was trying to get as many shots available to him throughout the remainder of that position whilst the circle was still moving in. Now regroups the rest of this team. MTech Storm have done a good job to keep 3 players alive despite so many teams having eyes on towards them. These nades could be devastating though.
MTech Storm, blue zone at the back, will need to push down. 2 players in the purple. Aegon XI8, but Chicken felled by LGD, suffering heavily. The Mini 14 tapping, and they will fall to it. Aegon I8 given a lifeline by LGD there. So MTech Storm finally removed. That opens up quite a lot of rotation, and S2G now looking to dominate.
Finally, break is found. We're going down in 4th place. Still a good result for Box despite everything. And S2G on the lineup now, and LGD would love to look for some higher ground to play around with, but it is IA who's holding them back.
2 players from Aegon XI8. LGD, YZ takes a little bit of damage, but gets back to cover in time. Forwards push coming in from Kelsey. S2G coming off the chicken dinner, pops the, I think that was a flashbang high, a stun grenade coming through. Low swing from Hamzy, finds an opening knock. MVS though lines him up for 1 and 2. It's not good enough to take down the team, but it slows things down. And now I8 can move on through. 2 players versus the 2. Are they going to commit for these reses? I don't think they're in position just yet. Silas moves back. Kelsey on the forwards hold. And things slow down again.
Another flashbang over the top. Kelsey, the clutch maestro from that last game, looking to do it again here. It's on the line for him, and he took down the 2 players from LGD and now hopes to curtail the 2 players from IA who are trying to ruin the back-to-back here at PMGC.
Groza in hand. Oh, spots an angle. Excellent. Knocks over onto Silas there. Doesn't get a flush just yet, but brings them back to 3. We have to commit for the res. Kelsey's position spotted. So much damage pouring out from this Groza. It has a hell of a bite to it. Kelsey falls down for it. The spray is good. Looks for more bullets down range, but gets backed off. Does stay alive, and there's the sideswipe. The crossfire is there, but a slur of HP now. Looking for the first aid. 3 players alive and kicking for S2G. The back-to-back is good, and they stay strong. What a way to kick off day 2 from S2G when they needed to prove it.